What's going on, traders? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe, and welcome back to another video on our channel. Today I'm really excited to show kind of a trade walkthrough mid-trade to really give a lot of value and show you guys actually how I think about trades while I'm actually in the trade. And I think this is going to be kind of a different angle to the videos I've been making where it's a lot of preparation and tips and tricks before you're actually taking trades. This one is actually a trade I'm in, and so I kind of want to walk through really my thought process on the trade, how I planned the actual trade itself, and then how I'm going to manage out of this trade or this winner as well. So we can start by just introducing the trade. So I'm trading ES right now. I'm in an overnight swing trade, so I don't expect it taking too long today, but I did actually take the position later last night. And I wanted to kind of walk through my trade idea and kind of how this trade's evolving. So if we look at like the 5-day chart on ES, right, which is the S&P 500 future, we can see that the future all week really has been grinding higher. So the S&P 500 or the overall stock market, right, has really made a strong bounce over the last month as well. We've been constantly making higher highs and higher lows. So I've actually been, deploying the strategy quite a bit. This exact trade was taken last week as well for a really nice winner. And I'm taking really that same concept this week where we're buying one of those lower lows after a higher high. And then even if you want to wait for a little bit of confirmation, right, there was multiple entries again that kind of double bottomed off of our breakout level. And that's actually where I got in last night. So if we zoom into the 5-day chart to look at really this week so far and a little bit of last week, we can see that the stock market or the ES future came up and made these similar highs up around 45, 41. And whenever something's in an uptrend, right, and it makes these consistent ceilings, right, if it ever breaks that ceiling, that can serve as a key level. So watch back my other videos on the channel, kind of break down how I use these key levels to trade. But essentially what we call this is a breakout. And there's a couple ways to actually trade this. We walk through all of the different ways on the channel. But how I usually trade breakouts are I like to trade the actual retest of that key level. So in this case, right, we can see ES came up, rejected off of that resistance level, rejected off of that resistance level, and then actually broke that level last Monday. And we're in mid-November now. So if you're seeing this in the future, right, you can go back a little bit, but we're in mid-November 2023. Now, when it does a big breakout like this, there's a couple benefits to waiting, right? If you wait for this actual breakout to happen, you can gauge strength. So that's obviously a really big benefit, right? When we actually wait and see this breakout, we can actually tell, okay, there were a lot of buyers, right? There was an actual meaningful breakout. And using this measuring tool in ThinkorSwim, we can see this was about a 30-point move on ES. And just to recap, right, how this future works is actually $50 per point. So this is about a $1,500 trade idea if it goes to the full target like we're expecting here. So as it comes back down to that key level on Tuesday of this week, right, we'll see we actually had a downtrend on Tuesday morning and pretty much all day Tuesday, but that downtrend actually stopped at our key level. And you can either buy it here. So this is kind of an aggressive breakout buy, but you can actually trade that first retest, or you can wait for a little bit of confirmation and wait for it to actually start pushing up. So you can buy it up in this region, or you can buy it on this second hold of the key level. This is a technical setup called a double bottom, which confirms buyers twice. So just makes it a little bit safer of an entry. And that's actually where I got in for the second trade, really once it started holding this key level for the second time. And then you have kind of a decision to make. So with ES, some of these moves can take multiple days, especially if you're looking at a 5-day chart, right? This move obviously took a few days to actually come to fruition last week, which is could be the case today as well. And we're already up 12 points, right? So we're already up about $600 per contract. So the trade's working really nicely. And if we drop down now to our day trading time frame, we can really evaluate how we're going to actually handle this trade itself. So I actually got in yesterday, right as the market closed on the future side. But as you know, with futures, right, based on my channel's videos, futures is open almost 24/7. So that's why we can really see how this pre-market session has worked, because it really hasn't been closed for any meaningful amount of time. We do take about a 1 hour break every day between 4 and 5 Central, and then it closes Friday nights for the weekend typically. But that's how we actually have all of this visibility with ES. And if we look at this actually pre-market session now, and I'm in this trade, we can see that the trade is actually in kind of a mini uptrend within that day, which is exactly what we want to see right at the end of the day. We want this thing going back up to 45.71 and testing those weekly highs. And that's really going to be our exit area. And in this case, right, we do have a stop loss that we're essentially just moving up as we get more structure. So how I'll typically do it is when I get in a breakout retest, right, based on the reward, I'm going to have to give this risk. So for this trade, I actually gave it pretty tight risk. When I actually got into the trade, I actually had my stop loss under that current low. I noticed how if it made a double bottom here, I wanted to hold this area. And so that's where I put my stop loss. So I actually had a really tight stop loss from the get-go today. But even if you had a wider stop loss because of maybe your sizing, right? Maybe you can afford a little bit bigger of a stop loss. As the trade actually starts working, I'll essentially trail that stop loss up under this structure. So I took it from here to here once we got this big push up, and then rolled over and made that higher high. That's when I'll essentially move the stop loss. And then with this higher high and higher low, as this thing's making another higher high, which it is right now, I've actually moved my stop loss again to the last major low as well within that kind of pocket. So as this thing begins to work, I'll begin to move my stop loss up and essentially ensure that I'm going to make a little bit of money off of the trade or get out for a really small loss now. So right now, like we mentioned, right, we're up about $500 and we really only have $37.50 of risk on the table anymore. Obviously, if this thing goes to target, right, we can have a really nice four-figure winner here. And this depends on your contract sizing, so you can take multiple contracts and futures as well. But hopefully this really helps with how I managed the trade, why I was even interested in taking the trade. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave a like and comment down below, and I'll get back to you about any questions you have. And feel free to subscribe to the channel for a lot more content like this. Want to bring a lot of value in 2024 as well to the community. So again, appreciate the listen, and thanks again, everybody.